scaled one-point perspective is the same principle as the unscaled one or the sketch one that was done. It's just that what you're doing now is that you have the scaled floor plan, like how you have it here. Let me just label it. Scaled floor plan. You have your scaled floor plan. These are your guidelines, and you just run it up to meet the points. I think with the 2-point perspective, the building was in a 45-degree angle. It can also be 60 or 30. It depends on the illusion you're trying to create. In this case, it's just a normal floor plan. You can also do it at an angle as well, depending on the illusion you're trying to create. But for most times, and also for your major project, it can just be a normal floor plan, and you just pull up the points to get an understanding of what an internal view of a room will be using 1-point perspective. Is that clear?
Yes.
All right. And for the second one is the roof outline. All right, so I don't think I did anything with a flat roof. So in my case, the roof outline will just be it's going to be denoted by hidden lines or dashed lines because the roof is not going to be within the cutting plane of the floor plan. So it's going to be denoted by hidden lines. Now that's for a roof outline. But if you're drawing the roof plan, that's totally different. The roof plan, you need to show the actual roof as if you're looking at it facing downwards. Now with the roof plan, it's when it comes to overhang, and that is the distance between the external wall and the end of the roof eave or barge board. The overhang at a generic level is recommended to be roughly 3 feet, 36 inches. However, that there is subjective. It depends on the design of the building and also the needs of the clients. Now, some clients might want a longer overhang, and some buildings, depending on the type of building, the type of roof design it is, may not need to have an overhang. Like for example, some flat roofs do not have overhang. So in hindsight, since I'm working on a flat roof, I don't need an overhang. But for the purpose of teaching about roof outline, I'm just going to assume that I have a roof outline with an overhang of, let's say, 36 inches, which is 3 feet. So that's basically it. You denote it using hidden lines. That's the roof outline. And again, the roof outline and the roof plan, they're totally different things. The roof outline is in hidden lines. The roof plan is in solid lines. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the other topic, final topic, will be that of the site plan. Right, so for the site plan, The site plan is drawn to the 1/16 scale, and it's used to denote the orientation of the building respective to the site. So, as with the floor plan, we need to establish our north point. And also need to identify our boundaries. So this is another boundary. Now, some persons will include the dimensions for the boundary. So let's say this is 100 feet. The western boundary is 50 feet. Okay, so we have our boundary here. We have north, south, east, west. All right, so in addition to that, the main axis way. All right, so that's denoted here. So what you can do here is, let me see, I want to get this done. I need a line. I need a thinner line. Okay, all right. All right, so we established here the main access road. This is the main access road. We also have the boundary. It's 50 feet times 100 feet. What else? Good. We have the roof outline of the building. Now, very important thing to establish, it will be the offset distances. Now, it's not really pertinent to architectural graphics, so I'm still going to tell you it because it's like, you need to know it if you're going to do a site plan anyway. So the offset distance or the setback distance is the distance between the external wall of the building and the boundary. Now, for the setback distance, it depends on the size of the land. For some land, especially those that are below or smaller than 50 by 100, let's say it's 40 by 80, those setback distances, it differs from if it's 50 by 100, if it's 180 by 120, and so forth. Now, for very small plots of land, those smaller than 50 by 100, because 50 by 100, that's like standard middle class in Guyana. So for those smaller than 50 by 100, usually it's 1/6. The setback distance allocated to that land is 1/6 of the total area. So in some cases, you're gonna find that the setback distance might be just 8 feet or 6 feet from side to side, from the front fence to the front wall, and so forth. And with land that is um 50 feet by 100 or greater, the setback distances for the two sides will be 10 feet. And that is the external. Let me be more specific. It's not just the external wall. Let's say you have a step at the side of the building. It's the end of that step, the facade of that step, that is calculated there as well. So if the step is at the side of the building, then the setback distance, at least for now, from now, it's from the side of the step to the fence. I think a few years ago it was the external wall, but now they included like the steps and sheds and so forth. So you have to include steps as now. Same thing for the front and back. The end of the step, if the step runs to the front of the building, the last tread, the setback distance is set from the last tread to the front fence. Let me just give an example. Uh, if you change the color. Okay, so if the step is at the side of the building, the setback distance, this is 50 by 100, so it means from the step, the end of the step, to here should be 10 feet. So from here to here is 10 feet. That's according to the Central Housing and Planning and by extensions the different NDCs. From the center of the step to the boundary line should be 10 feet. First, it was from the wall, now it's the step. Same thing to know. If let's say the step projects out to the front of the building, the same thing. The end of the step to the boundary, the front boundary needs to be, if it's 10 feet, 10 feet. I think it's for the front, for 50 by 100, is roughly 15 feet. And from the back wall to the back boundary, I think it's 10 feet. If the step runs parallel or to the side to the boundary, the front boundary, same thing too. The end of the step to the boundary needs to be 10 feet, 15 feet, whatever it is for the land size. And also these things need to be dimensioned as well. You need to indicate it by dimensions. So let me see if I could try to do some dimensions using this. Hmm. I'm going to assume this is, sorry, 5 feet. Now, when you're doing a site plan, you don't need to show any of the internal details here inside this floor plan. You just need to show the outline of the building. And in the case of the site plan, you need to show the roof itself. Just calculate this thing. Plus 4 plus 25 plus minus 100. We're going to assume that the width of the building is 25 feet. So 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. All right, so for the site plan, let me just separate these things. So for the site plan, where is it? How am I going to get this? For the site plan, all of these symbols, you don't need to include it. The building itself needs to be in hidden lines, and you have to show the roof plan in the site plan. Now for the roof outline, that's when you're just drawing the normal floor plan. You just show the roof outline in hidden with hidden light. So I'm gonna try. Huh. Okay, so that's neat enough. So the roof plan, not the roof plan, sorry, the site plan. Right, so it's just one thing that is left for the site plan. Well, more than one thing, but the other important thing for the site plan is to establish where the septic tank is going to be. As the plan will not be approved without it. So let's change this color. Let's set it right here. Very important that you indicate where the septic tank is on the site plan. And this, in a nutshell, is what a site plan looks like. You can also add trees and scrubs as well to it. It's not mandatory or necessary, but it can improve the aesthetics of it. Right, so first and also point to note the boundary line should be the thickest line on the drawing. You notice my boundary lines are very thick. Your boundary line should be the thickest line on the drawing. If you're going to use landscaping to improve the aesthetics of the site plan, just ensure that it's not in the way of anything. All the dimensions are clear and nothing is being obstructed. So that there is your site plan in a nutshell. And let me, so that's a site plan. So I don't need all of it. I don't need this. I don't need this. This. line. All right, so if this was a V roof, then you indicate it by showing the ridge of the roof, and also you can denote the corrugation of the roof, the zinc, so to indicate that the water is going to flow down the two opposite directions. Now, if it was a hip roof or a combination of roofs, then you would have to show the different turns and grooves of the roof. Are clear? It's something that you're going to delve into a little bit more in the second semester. But for now, what is this? Yeah, work on a simple flat roof. Are there any questions? Hello?
Yes, miss. Instead of this step, if we got a shed that's attached to the building, do we take the measurement from the end of the shed or the end of the building?
The shed. According to Central Laws and Planning, the shed. Now, what I will recommend persons to do is not to include the shed in the drawing when they want it to be approved, because the shed is also included in that setback distance. At first it was just the external wall. Now it's anything beyond the external wall has to be included as well. So if you want to do a shed at the side of the building, most cases, what persons do is just leave it out of the plan, and that can be like a later extension plan.
Okay, okay, miss. Noted. Understand.
Excuse me. Good afternoon, miss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if they're going to do an extension, they don't have to go back to the plan and update it, because to my understanding is that once you are the plan passed, you have to follow the plan on the out external building. You have to follow the plan. Only the inside, the internal building, you could make changes to.
Ideally, yes. Ideally.
Okay, miss.
Ideally, yes. Any other questions? Okay, so if there's no other questions, now that's gonna bring
Actually,
us to, yes.
one more question. This septic tank, they got a specific offset distance for the septic tank?
Not that I'm aware of. No. At least
Oh,
it's not required for you to state that on the site plan.
okay, miss. Just checking.
All right, so that there will bring us to the end of the first semester for architectural graphics. Now, just to do a recap, this course is primarily based on aesthetics, which means that the the visual quality of the drawings. This is not necessarily a design course. This is not design. Design is actually from the second year. This is just to work on graphics overall. Because if you notice, I did this in Canva. This is, I won't call it a presentation software. This is like an online everything software. But I was still able to draw a plan and draw it fairly neat without the official software, which is AutoCAD. Same thing with drawing by hand. Not every time you're going to have the tools that you need to have something done, but there are going to be times when you need to get it done regardless if you have the tools. So with graphics now, architectural graphics, it trains you to deliver in such a way that regardless of what medium you use to produce a drawing, it must maintain some kind of aesthetical quality. So in aesthetics, it means it must look pleasing, it must look nice. I don't like using the word nice, but it must look nice. That's the main gist of this course. So ensure that the drawing has a visual appeal or drawings. And with the next semester, it's going to be times 10. And with the next semester, we're going to introduce coloring and also shading into the different aspects. So with the line weight is very important. The line weight will come back under shading with the different types of shades that you can use. Because not every time you're going to get the tools that you need to get the work done, because my AutoCAD refuses to open or stay open. Let me be more specific. It refuses to stay open while internet is on. Which means most likely I have to get someone to give me back AutoCAD because of that. But it doesn't mean I can't do the work. The work still needs to be done. So that's it in a nutshell. I am going to try to finish. I think you guys have until the 30th to submit your major project. So before the end of January, I want to say before the end of January, maybe by the second week in January, all of your grades will be in Moodle for you to see. I think some of it is right there right now. So from the 7th or maybe 8th week, I have to mark. I'm gonna get that done by the second week in January. Everything's gonna be done by the second week in January. I think the second semester starts in February, maybe the end of January, early February. I would recommend that you put it at the back of your mind that come the second semester, some of you it's gonna be easy, but some of you have to dig real deep, like deep down to get the artistic side of you out. Because again, we're using a lot of colors come next semester. Hopefully there is no clash with no other class in between. So we can get as much done as possible. And by the end of next semester, when you look at your drawings, you should be able to see a visible difference from when you started. Because I can tell you with the previous class, with the TD teachers, a lot of them actually saw a difference in the type of drawings they produce. And for the persons that might have an interest in architecture and architecture design, what I would recommend is that this course is just graphical based. It basically just makes you draw like an architect. It doesn't teach you the design aspects. Now, I know that the chances of you doing the second year architectural graphics is very slim, but environmental design, that is a second year course. Now, the students from last year or the last academic year, they actually did that this time around. So I recommend that if you have an interest in architecture and you want to learn more about when it comes to the design of the buildings in terms of orientations and those kinds of stuff, you can consider doing our environmental design. It's divided into three components. That is thermal comfort, that deals with the sun, or the sun and the environment in general. The second component is light, that's both natural and artificial light. And the third one will be sound, how to manage sound and noise into a building. Well, noise is unwanted sound, but basically how to manage it. If there isn't anything else, you guys are free to go and see you next year.
Okay, miss.
Okay,
I'm do enjoy your holiday, miss.
you too. Bye bye.
Bye.